and died on a cross for you because he loved you. And now he's saying, I want you to have that same kind of love. I want you to have that same kind of devotion towards other people. I want you to treat people the way you want to be treated. But not everyone does it. Look at what he says next. Verse 13. Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. Okay, so picture like two roads. There's a big interstate, it's moving fast. There's lots of on-ramps, everyone's going every which way. There's tons of people on it. Then there's another road. There's a little tiny road that's not very well traveled, not very well known, and there's not very many people on it. And Jesus says there are two roads. There's a big road, a fast road, an easy road, and you can take that, or you can take the little road, the small road, the hard road. But the problem with it is, yes, the big road is easy. It's easy to be selfish. It's easy to live for yourself. It's easy not to follow Jesus, to just, simply live your life to its fullest, for your own enjoyment. That's easy, and that is what the majority of people do. They're on that broad road. But he says that road only goes one place, and that one place is destruction. He says there's also a hard road, and it's small. It's hard to find. There's few people on it, but he says it leads to life. He's saying there's basically two types of people. There's the people who go on the hard road, who follow him, who serve him, who do whatever it takes to be near him. And then there's also the people who are on the big road, who don't really care, who don't really follow, who aren't really devoted. He's basically saying there are followers and there are admirers. I want to try and give you an example of this. When I was in high school, I started learning to play the bass guitar. And when I started to play the bass guitar, I really started liking this band, Rush, because I really liked Geddy Lee and his bass lines. I really liked the way he put them together. And so I would listen to those, I would study them, I would learn them, I would watch interviews, I'd do all these different things because I wanted to play the bass guitar like Geddy Lee. And so I studied him, I learned from him. You could say, I was a follower of him. Because I wanted to play like him. I wanted to be able to compose like him. You might like the band Rush, or you might not, but let's just pretend you do at the moment. You might like the band Rush, and you might say, well, yeah, he plays the bass well. I like that. It's fun to listen to. But you're not really a follower. You don't really study it. You don't really learn from it. You simply enjoy it. And Jesus says there are two types of people. There's the admirers on the broad road, who don't really study from the Master, who don't really learn from the Master, who aren't really devoted to the Master. He says, but there's a lot of them, and they're living an easy life. Then he also says there is a narrow road, and yes, it's hard, but there are a few people on there, and they are followers. They are people who study from the Master. They are people who learn from the Master, who try to follow the Master's example. These are people who want to live like the Master, who love the Master. But Jesus says in reality there's few of them. A lot of people think they're followers. A lot of people think they're on the right road. But very few actually are. And so, I just want to ask this question, which road are you on? Are you on the broad road, or are you on the narrow road? Because it makes all the difference in the world. Because only one of those roads points to life. There's only one road that will give you eternal life. There's only one right path. The other road, it's easy, it's well-traveled, there's lots of people on it, but it leads to destruction. So you need to figure out which road are you on. And I want you to really, really examine yourself, because a lot of times we think we're on the right road and we're not. And so I just want us right now to really think, okay, am I on the right road? Am I living the way Jesus has told me to live? Am I following the Master? Am I serving the Master? Am I loving the Master? Or am I just honoring him with my lips when my heart is far from him? Am I loving the Master, or am I someone who just follows the rules with no emotion? Am I loving the Master? Am I on that narrow road? Am I following him? Or am I just an admirer? Am I just someone who thinks, yeah, Jesus is good, I believe in him? Or am I someone who actually lives like him? Who lives the way he's been describing on the Sermon on the Mount? Who lives the golden rule lifestyle? Who treats people the way they want to be treated? Who loves God with all their heart, all their soul, all their mind, and all their strength? Is that who you are? And so Jesus says there's two roads, and you've got to make a choice. You've got to figure out which road you're on. And you know, I'm not going to lie to you. The narrow road is hard. It's hard to live this lifestyle. It's hard to serve Jesus consistently. You know, so many times we fail. So many times we mess up, and then we feel guilty and we feel down because we wanted to serve God, we wanted to love him, but somehow we fell into some sin. Or even if you don't fall into some sin, you know, it's a constant struggle of battling temptation. You know, we've got to be honest with ourselves. Yes, this road is hard. It is very difficult. You know, Katie always says to me, he never said it would be easy. He said it would be worth it. You know, it's so true. The road is hard. The road is narrow, but it is so, so worth it. And you can take the other road. You can take the easy road. But in the end, there's only regret. There's only sorrow. There's only pain. And so I just want to ask you, which road are you on? Are you an admirer or a follower? Are you living this golden rule life? Are you serving Jesus? You know, Led Zeppelin said there are two paths you can go by, and in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. And that's partly true. There's two roads. There's the narrow road, there's the broad road. And while you're still alive, there is time to change the road you're on. But here's the problem. You really don't know how much time you have left. Your life could end in a second. You could be dead today. See, we all think we're going to live to a nice old age. We all think we're going to have a nice long life. But you never know when your life is over. You never know what's going to happen. So right now, while you still have time, I just want to plead with you to make sure that you're on the right road, because it makes all the difference in the world. You know, eternity is at stake here. There is nothing more important than this. So which road are you on? Are you on the broad road, the easy road, the road that the world is on, the road that leads to destruction and death, or are you on the narrow road? You need to find out which road you're on, and you need to make a choice. Because you can change, you can get off that broad road and onto the narrow road. And I can't promise you it'll be easy. I can't promise you it'll always be fun. I can't promise you that there's going to be blessings raining down from heaven continually. But I can promise you that it will be worth it. So if you need to respond for any reason, will you please come forward and just stand and sing this invitation song.